In 2001, Moazzam Begg and his family moved to Afghanistan, which was under Taliban rule at the time, from Britain. They were there to work on a project, building a school for girls. But when the US invaded, he moved to Pakistan, where his family is originally from. One night in January of 2002, he was detained at his home in Islamabad by unidentified men, who he says were a group of Pakistani and American agents. After spending a year in secret detention sites in Afghanistan, he was transferred to Guantanamo Bay.
In Guantanamo, there are no charges. They don't accuse you. They don't say that you have done this crime at this place, at this time, with this person, and we're going to take you to a court where you will have a judge, a jury, a defense and prosecution. That doesn't exist in Guantanamo. What exists in Guantanamo is the power of the US military. They can hold you for as long as they wish, and they designate you something called enemy combatants, which is a designation of something that doesn't exist in international law. It doesn't exist in US military law. It only exists in Guantanamo.
Begg spent 23 months at Guantanamo before being sent back to the UK in 2005, taking terrible memories with him.
The thing that stays in my mind that I cannot forget is the murder that I witnessed of a prisoner. This prisoner, his name was Dilawar. He was a taxi driver. He was an Afghani. He was brought into my cell in 2003 at the beginning, in February, by the American soldiers in Bagram. They tied his hands to the top of the cage like this. They suspended him. They put a hood on his head, and he was on his toes like this. And the shackles were cutting into his hands. And they left him like this for days.
Begg and his fellow British detainees were immediately released upon their arrival back in the UK. And in 2010, the British government reached an out-of-court financial settlement with Begg and 15 other detainees, who accused the UK government of complicity in the use of torture. Begg was born here in the Sparkhill neighbourhood of Birmingham. He worked for various humanitarian organisations throughout his life. Following his release from Guantanamo, he returned back home and started campaigning for the release of other prisoners and against the extrajudicial practices that put them there. Since his return, Begg has been working with CAGE, a human rights organisation campaigning against Guantanamo and detention of suspects without a charge or trial.
The total number of prisoners held in Guantanamo at the height was 779 prisoners. Now there's only 38 prisoners left. So that means the majority of these prisoners who were so-called Taliban, so-called Al-Qaeda, so-called terrorists are all now free. So if they were so bad, then why are they free? That's the first question. The second question is, what process is there to keep these people in prison in the first place? And that comes down to all the presidents.
Although he welcomes President Joe Biden's promise to close Guantanamo and the clearing of further 7 detainees, Begg knows the return of Taliban rule in Afghanistan may extend the life of the detention center. Mehmet Solmaz, TRT World, Birmingham.